Well, good morning. If those of you coming in, I'm going to wait a minute whilst the participants get spooled in. It takes a few seconds for this to occur. Well, good morning, those of you who are joining us. Looking at the number of people, I'm expecting a few more people to join in a few minutes, I dare say, but I do want to get going. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good evening if you're dialing in from Asia. My name is Tom Jenkins. I work at ETOA. I'm currently sitting in Mallorca, where I'm attending, or I've taken some time out from an indirect taxation conference discussing the current state and future of VAT. I do it so you don't have to. But we've got, I'm delighted to be joined by Parisa Bakhtali from ForwardKeys, who's got very much a data-driven presentation on the state of Europe as a destination and prospects for the future. So I know, Parisa, you've been waiting to go and people are dialing in to listen to you. So I think I'm going to hand it straight over to you and let you share your screen.
Thank you very much, Tom. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Could you please confirm if you can see the screen?
I can see it loud and very clearly, so this is good.
Perfect, thank you. Hello, everyone. Greetings from Barcelona. Thank you for joining me today. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of ForwardKeys, the knowledge partner of ETOA. I'm very excited to share with you some insights on European travel trends and demand, as well as exploring some emerging opportunities for sustainable tourism development. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through an overview of global travel trends and Europe's performance in 2024. We will also discuss some strategies for managing tourism growth while tackling challenges such as seasonality and unbalanced tourism. We will also explore various practical examples of using the mobile data to promote tourism dispersion during peak season. And now, before we dive in, let me have a brief introduction about ForwardKeys for those who might not know us. We are a travel analytic company specializing in tracking changes in the travel industry in near real time. In essence, we know who is traveling, when and where, and our insights are based on analyzing both tourism demand and tourism supply. On the supply side, we provide information about the airline operations and schedules, such as which airlines are flying where, when, with how many seats, and even the type of aircraft that they are using or the amount of CO2 that they are generating. On the demand side, we map out every stage of the traveler's journey. We track data from meta search engines such as Google Flights, Skyscanner, Kayak, Kiwi, etc. And thanks to our partnership with IATA, we are also able to analyze the ticketing data, which gives us a complete view of the confirmed travel demand and includes valuable information such as departure date, itineraries, trip duration, and so on. This comprehensive approach helps us to provide our partners with forward-looking insights and empower them in the process of decision-making. By leveraging mobile data and spending data through our partnership with MasterCard, we can also gain insight into the travelers' mobility and spending patterns and behaviors while they are at the destination. Now that you are a bit more familiar with the data, let's see how we can leverage it to better understand the current and future status of European tourism sector. Please take into account that we have based the analysis mostly on the ticketing data, the search data, capacity data, and also mobile data. Okay, so to kick things off, let's start with having a quick look at global travel trends for 2024 in different regions of the world, and also analyze the Europe's performance in this landscape. Starting with global arrivals, we can see that the trend has been very promising so far. It has shown a 13% increase from January to October this year compared to 2023. This strong growth signals a robust rebound in global travel activity and highlights a positive shift in the industry. The growth this year has been driven mainly by the APAC, Asia Pacific region. It seems that after a much later reopening and several challenges that the region was facing, such as seat capacity, which was limited compared to the pre-pandemic levels, staffing issues that they were facing at airports, and also other issues such as long waits for getting a visa, it seems that the recovery post-COVID is now really starting to accelerate. In the MEA, the GCC region has shown a strong performance so far, and the growth has been up by 6% compared to last year. This resilience somehow contrasts with some neighboring countries, such as Lebanon or Jordan, and suggests that the region has been able to successfully maintain a perception of safety and also sustain the demand, even as the nearby destinations have experienced a slowdown in travel. Arrivals in Europe have also continued a steady growth so far, and we have observed 8% increase compared to the last year so far. In the case of the Americas, the growth is up to 12% and has been led mostly by the US and Latin countries. Now, let's take a look at the outlook for the remainder of the year. As we approach the end of the year, the Asia-Pacific region is expected to continue leading the growth with 17% increase in international arrivals compared to the last year. In the case of Middle East and Africa, growth also will remain positive despite the ongoing challenges that we already mentioned. Europe, on the other hand, is projected to see a 9% growth in the international arrivals, and it's going to surpass the growth rate in the Americas. However, the Europe's growth still lags slightly behind the Asia Pacific and remains just below the global average. This is largely because, unlike APAC, much of the Europe's recovery has occurred already in 2023 and made 2024 a year more focused on maintaining those levels and driving steady and sustainable growth. In the Americas, growth will be driven mostly by the Caribbean and South American countries such as Brazil. And North America shows signs of stabilization, which suggests that demand in the region has already leveled up. Now, to better analyze Europe's growth, let's dive deeper into the trends across different European regions to identify which ones are driving this upward trend and are contributing most to the overall progress for the rest of the year. When the Putin's wars in Ukraine began in early 2022, right when a European destination had started to recover post-COVID, Central and Eastern Europe destination have had a difficult time reactivating. But as you can see here, this is no longer the case, and the outlook for the end of 2024 for this region is looking very positive. We can observe 21% increase versus November, December last year. Other regions in Europe are also expecting growth in tourist numbers compared to the last year. Southern Europe in particular is on track for a solid 10% increase, and it's going to outpace the growth that we've seen in Northern European destination. This highlights a strong demand for winter sun getaways. Now, shifting to Northern Europe, we see that while the region is generally growing at a slower pace, the demand for certain cities is expected to experience remarkable growth. Key Christmas and nature hotspots like Rovaniemi, which we will take a closer look at this destination later, and Trosmo, for instance, are going to see a surge in demand for this winter season. and which is probably driven by the tourists who are eager to meet Santa Claus or witness the northern lights in this region. Looking at the top performing European destinations, we observe a diverse mix of destination types among the fastest growing locations for this winter's travel. On the list, we have some usual suspects and we have some emerging destinations. As you can see, we have destinations like Budapest, Milan, Paris, Rome, for those who are more drawn to festive wintry atmosphere. And we also have destinations such as Malaga or Lisbon, for travelers that are looking for milder climates and sunny skies. So the ranking highlights the diversity of travel preferences for this season. And now the next question is, which source markets are driving this growth? And to answer this, we have looked at the ticketing data for this winter season, and we can clearly see that it is the long-haul markets that are driving this accelerating growth across Europe. In Asia Pacific, it's the Chinese market that plays a critical role in driving Europe's winter tourism success. As you can see, tickets are currently up by 50% for arrivals between November and December. This notable increase is partly attributable to China's gradual recovery in outbound travel, which has led to a pent-up demand for international travel. And it seems that as Chinese travelers return to the global stage, Europe is also benefiting from this renewed influx. Unlike China, the UAE on the list most probably does not reflect a recovery trend, but it's signaling a significant growth for this market. In the case of the regional market, we are observing 8% growth. We expect 8%, and markets such as Denmark and Portugal are driving this growth. Now that we've explored the confirmed demand, let's shift our focus to travel interest and explore a bit more the potential demand for traveling to the Northern European destination this winter, to see where future trends might be heading. As we can observe on the flight searches data for winter departure dates this year, we can clearly see that London stands out as the most popular destination among Northern European cities, and accounts for an impressive almost 35% of all searches in this region. This is no surprise, as London has a lot to offer year-round, but its winter season is particularly attractive. Additionally, its excellent connectivity to other destinations makes it a key hub for travelers. Now let's have a closer look at the case of Rovaniemi, which is capturing 4.1% share of all Northern European travel searches. The popularity of this destination is partly because it is one of the most iconic winter getaways, and it's considered to be the official home for Santa Claus. But the appeal of this destination goes beyond its authentic charm. As we can see in this chart, its accessibility also is playing a major role in attracting visitors. There is obviously a high number of direct connections from key European cities and other transport hubs like Paris, London, Madrid, and Amsterdam. And so this easy access helps explain a bit the growing demand for traveling to Lapland. As we can see, the majority of travel searches for Rovaniemi are originating from Paris, which is no surprise due to the fact that Ryanair has established a new direct route between Paris-Beauvais Airport and this destination. So this increasing connectivity between the two cities has most likely caught the attention of curious travelers, which can now choose to travel from both Paris airports. And now there is connection from Paris Charles de Gaulle and Paris Beauvais. Now, let's shift our focus to the Chinese market and take a closer look at the latest trends and preferences of Chinese travelers who are heading to Europe. So first, let's explore how is the situation of recovery for this market. As we can see in the graph, travel from China has not yet returned to pre-pandemic levels, mainly due to the slower restart of outbound travel after COVID and also a limited seat capacity. However, the data also shows that there is a strong upward trend from 2023 to 2024. And we see rapid growth quarter by quarter, which points to a pretty fast recovery in this period. So we can say that while the market hasn't fully reached pre-pandemic numbers, it is clear that it's gaining momentum and moving quickly toward full recovery. On the other hand, for the most of this period, the recovery of Chinese market to international destinations has happened faster than Europe. This is partly due to the fact that European airlines have limited a bit the recovery of Chinese travelers by significantly reducing the number of direct flights to China. Several factors such as lower demand for business travel, increased competition from Chinese carrier, and also some operational challenges such as the inability to use Russian airspace are contributing to this trend. Nevertheless, the growth of Chinese market for travel to Europe is still evident. In Q3 of 2024, the demand was just 37% lower than 2019 levels, which signals a significant improvement compared to the same period last year, when it was, for the same period, it was 60% below pre-pandemic levels. Now, the key question is which European destinations will experience the most growth in Chinese travelers for the upcoming month. As we can see, destinations such as Belgium, Hungary, and Austria are on top of this list. These countries are gaining popularity as winter destinations for Chinese travelers, partly thanks to the better flight connections that they are providing with China. During the next 2 months, flights between China and Belgium are set to grow by 74%, with Juneyao Airlines launching a new direct route from Shanghai to Brussels. In the case of Hungary, seat capacity from China is also increasing, which is driven by several new flight routes. Shanghai Airlines now operates connections from Xi'an and Ningbo to Budapest, and Air China has also introduced a Chongqing Budapest route, and China Southern Airlines has also added a flight from Guangzhou to Budapest. These new routes are significantly boosting the travel access and helping support the increased tourism from China. Additionally, all these destinations that we are observing on this list, with the exception of Greece and the United Kingdom, they offer a visa-free access for Chinese tourists for up to 15 days, with some variation depending on the countries. So for Belgium, Hungary, and Austria, this policy was implemented in March 2024 and has been extended to January 2025. Now, let's take a closer look at how the profile of Chinese travelers to Europe has evolved since the pre-pandemic period. So as we can see, in November to December 2024, premium travelers will account for 15% of Chinese travel to Europe, which is up from 10% in 2019. However, if we compare the growth levels for premium travelers to 2023 volumes, we can only expect 22% of increase, whereas the economy travelers are expected to rise by 61%. So this suggests that while premium travelers have bounced back more quickly since COVID, economy travelers are those who are catching up now in 2024. The data also shows that shows an interesting shift in group sizes among Chinese travelers to Europe. As you can see, solo travelers now make up a larger proportion. They are rising from 25% to 34%, which reflects a growing trend toward independent travel. Many Chinese travelers seem to now prefer flexible, personalized experiences over structured group tours. We can also see that the share of group travelers has dropped from 31% to 19%, which possibly is due to the changing preferences that we mentioned earlier, or it could also be because of the lingering post-pandemic travel restrictions. Meanwhile, couples and families have remained steady in numbers, and this indicates that Europe's appeal for these groups remain strong because Europe obviously offers a very diverse cultural attractions and family-friendly activities. Now that we've explored a bit the current trends and also some outlook for the upcoming season in Europe, let's shift our focus a bit to the next topic and explore some real world use cases and strategies for managing sustainable growth in destinations. Here we will try to answer a key question. How can we create a more balanced and resilient tourism landscape across Europe? Here, we are going to explore two potential solutions to promote sustainable growth through effectively managing demand. The first solution focuses on strategies which encourage off-season travel and promotes more even distribution of tourism throughout the year. We will examine two real-world examples from the UK and Dubrovnik here. The second solution highlights the use of traveler dispersion to manage high tourist volumes during peak season, which can help alleviate the pressure on high concentration areas and overcrowded destinations. In this example, we will showcase two examples from Valencia to demonstrate how we can use mobile data to achieve this. So to explore the first solution, let's begin by identifying how we can encourage off-season travel. One possible way is to help reduce the destination's reliance on long-haul markets and to shift some of the demand to off-peak periods from intra-regional markets. In this way, we can alleviate pressure on destinations during peak season, while also we can reduce the carbon footprint which is associated with long-haul flights. As you know, these long-haul flights tend to be more frequent during high demand times, as they are typically require more planning and time. So this strategy not only supports more sustainable travel along different regions, but also helps balance the flow of tourists throughout the year. Here, we will take into account the case of the United Kingdom, which stands out for its heavy reliance on long-haul travel in 2024. As you can see, long-haul arrivals made up to almost 40% of inbound travel to the UK this year, because as we all know, major airports like Heathrow, Gatwick, and Stansted serve as a key hub for global connectivity to the UK. So to develop a solution for promoting sustainable off-season travel, we need to take a few steps. First, we need to identify the destination's low season. Then we can compare it with the competitor destinations and identify those origin markets that are drawn to this location during the same period. To do so, we have leveraged the data from our new module, which is called Growth Management, to pinpoint intra-regional target markets for the low season in the UK. Before we delve into this case, let me first provide you with some context about the growth management module. This module offers a comprehensive perspective on a destination seasonality, on the competitor seasonality, and also the origin market's behavior. To do so, the module analyzes the distribution of overnight stays throughout the year. Once the low season and shoulder season are identified, the module helps destination to uncover ideal target markets based on their behavior relative to competitors, and in this way helps them to strategically plan their tourism activities. In this case, we have set France and Germany as the UK's competitors, and we have asked the module to identify those intra-regional markets that potentially can travel to the UK during the destination's low season, which in this case is from almost from 8th of January to 10th of March. So the result from the module shows that during the UK's low season, Italian travelers are opting to visit competing destinations such as France and Germany instead of the UK. As you can see, with insights from this module, we can accurately estimate the optimal number of visitors to target during this period from different nationalities. In this case, during the low season, the United Kingdom should aim to attract approximately 58,000 Italian tourists, which will help to bolster tourism during these slower months and also balance the seasonal demand by concentrating on intra-regional destinations. Another approach to encourage off-season tourism is to track and analyze shifting trends, which can allow the destinations to fully capitalize on emerging opportunities. Here we have an interesting example of Europe. As you can see, during the high season in 2024, between April and September, Northern European destination saw a stronger year-on-year growth during the peak summer months compared to Southern Europe. This trend reflects an increasing awareness among travelers about the climate change and also the impact on its impact on their destination choices. It seems that now many travelers are drawn to cooler Northern European locations during the hottest months, and they are trying to avoid extreme temperatures in the south. So this shift will benefit both regions. Northern Europe is enjoying more visitors during its summer season, which is usually less crowded, and it helps to balance the flow of tourists throughout the year. And at the same time, Southern Europe is seeing a boost in visitor numbers during the shoulder season, which is spring and autumn. And this allows them to extend their tourism season beyond just the peak summer months. So it's a win-win situation and promotes sustainable growth for both areas, and also helps the distribution of tourism more evenly across the calendar year. So the second example highlights the case of Dubrovnik, the significant seasonality challenge that the destination is facing. Here we will begin by analyzing the current situation. We try to understand the patterns and factors that are contributing to this pronounced seasonality, and then We will explore potential solutions, which are aimed at flattening the seasonality curve and ensure a more balanced and sustainable flow of visitors throughout the year. So let's begin by examining the trends in international travel to Dubrovnik between September 2023 and September 2024, and compare it with similar destinations such as Naples. As you can see, the data clearly shows that Dubrovnik is experiencing a far more greater levels of seasonality compared to Naples in this case. And visitor numbers are fluctuating very dramatically between peak and off-peak periods. But it doesn't stop there. While comparing the seasonality index for Dubrovnik and other similar destinations in 2024 versus 2019, we also have observed that unlike other destinations, Dubrovnik's seasonality has actually worsened because a lower index here indicates more consistent overnight stays year-round, while a higher index reflects greater variability in weekly overnight stays. So, as you can see, all other similar destinations are improving because the index is lower. Whereas in the case of Dubrovnik, the situation is getting worse. And this obviously underlines the challenges that Dubrovnik is facing in balancing its visitor flow. So now the question is, why is this happening? To be able to answer this, let's take a look at the flight capacity. By looking at this chart, we can clearly see that when compared to a destination like Naples, Dubrovnik experiences a much steeper decline in flights during the off-season, which highlights a significant challenge in maintaining consistent tourism flows. Therefore, achieving more visitors and more sustainable tourism growth in Dubrovnik requires, on one hand, a more strategic, closer collaboration with airlines and air supply, and on the other hand, a strategic coordination, which mainly comes from the DMO part, to involve the local stakeholders, because targeted marketing campaigns aimed at promoting off-season travel will have limited impact unless they are supported by increased flight availability during these periods. And at the same time, local businesses, including hotels, restaurants, retailers, must be prepared to meet the demand generated by these efforts to ensure a seamless experience for off-season visitors. This coordinated strategy is very essential to create a more balanced and sustainable tourism model for destinations such as Dubrovnik. Now, let's explore the next solution for tackling unbalanced tourism, which is focusing on travelers' dispersion during the peak season. To achieve this, we first need to understand traveler preferences and identify areas of overconcentration. This knowledge allows us to guide visitors toward less crowded attractions or implement other kind of strategies to distribute tourism more evenly. Let's take a closer look at the case of Valencia. Using mobile data, we have analyzed the presence of different nationalities in Rusafa, which is a popular nightlife area in Valencia. The data clearly shows that British, Dutch, and Italian visitors have the highest presence in this area. We then extended our analysis to examine the overall presence of these nationalities across other parts of Valencia. And as you can see, while the volume of British tourists makes them a significant presence in Rusafa, the data shows that the trend is different. British people actually demonstrate less presence in Rusafa than other areas of Valencia, and it's Italian and Dutch visitors who are disproportionately are represented in this area compared to their overall presence in the city. So how can we use this insight to improve the situation? One solution could be the development of more targeted communication strategy. For example, multilingual outreach could be tailored to these key visitor groups and key markets to promote responsible enjoyment of the area. Alternatively, campaigns aimed to target these markets could highlight other evening activities in other districts and to help to distribute the tourist activity more evenly across the city. Another way to disperse travelers is to identify profiles that are more likely to venture off the beaten path and strategically plan to maximize the benefits of their presence in less crowded areas. Let's take a look at another example of Valencia to understand this point better. In this case, we have analyzed the presence of different nationalities in Albufera, which is a popular destination for food and nature experiences, and it is located outside of the Valencia city center. The mobile data here clearly shows that the presence of French, Dutch, and Belgian visitors are more prominent in Albufera compared to their presence in other areas of Valencia. So again, this insight, can help us to identify the Albufera's potential as a key location for visitor dispersion, which can draw tourists away from the city center and offer a contrasting experience. We have also extended the analysis to examine when these nationalities are in this area, and we have found out that their presence is primarily concentrated during lunchtime. So this reveals a significant opportunity. By understanding these temporal visitor patterns, destination can diversify the offering in the area to attract and retain these already motivated visitors. In this case, strategies could include, for instance, the promotion of evening dining experiences, sunset tours, or other activities that capitalize on the area's unique potential and encourages visitors to engage beyond lunchtime. To wrap up this presentation, let's highlight some key takeaways from our discussion so far. First, travel demand to Europe continues to grow, and Eastern European destinations are emerging as the key drivers of this trend. These destinations offer a unique blend of culture, affordability, and untapped experiences, which make them increasingly attractive to travelers. And it also presents new opportunities for sustainable growth and strategic destination management in Europe. Second, the recovery of Chinese outbound travel offers a significant opportunity to boost European tourism. But to fully capitalize on this momentum, destination must align with emerging preferences and trends in the Chinese market. So a tailored offering and strategic engagement will be essential in maximizing the potential of this recovery, because it's very important to note that not all destinations will benefit equally from this rebound, and it is crucial for them to stand out with targeted and relevant strategies. Third, there are innovative ways to address the challenges of unbalanced tourism. We've already discussed some potential solutions, such as encouraging off-season tourism, adapting offerings through coordinated efforts among destination stakeholders, and also managing high tourist volumes during peak season through effective traveler dispersion. These strategies and many more can open up countless opportunities to shape tourism in a more sustainable and balanced way, which will benefit both visitors and local communities. And last, sustainable destination growth hinges on data-driven insights. By applying actionable insights, which is driven from data, we can better understand visitor trends and we can manage better their resources. And we can also anticipate challenges and get prepared for them. This approach allows us to grow our destinations more responsibly and ensure that the tourism is benefiting all in the long term. Thank you so much for your time and for your attention. I'd also love to invite you to download our latest reports on tackling seasonality for sustainable tourism development. It's all packed with many interesting real use cases and trends that perfectly can complement our today's discussion. I also look forward to hearing your questions and thoughts.
Well, Parisa, thank you so much. There was so much there. I don't actually know where to start. We could almost go through the presentation again. I could, because I think each slide, particularly at the beginning, gave rise to all sorts of really interesting speculation. But before I continue, I just want to stress to all the participants, please submit questions. There's a Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen. I know we already have one question being posted there. Please add as many as you can, because it really helps the conversation flow. I think there is one question which was posed upon registration, so I'd be very interested to hear what you have to say about it, Parisa. I was just wondering if there are any regions or countries that are proving to be popular, that are increasing in popularity in origin markets, that tour operators could start concentrating on or thinking about in terms of planning for 26 and 27. Are there any sort of standout places that people are looking popular at the moment?
So yeah, as we've already mentioned some of these destinations across different European regions, we have very varied destination types. In the Northern Europe, we see increased demand for Trosmo, for Rovaniemi, for this wintry vibe. So these destinations are appearing on the ticketing data as the most popular destination, as well as the most searched for destination. In the case of Central and Eastern Europe, again, like we are seeing a very dynamic trend, and we see that they're gaining popularity, especially this year compared to the last year. So I think that would be a very great opportunity to consider this region as a potential market that could benefit many different origin markets inside Europe and outside Europe. Again, the destinations in the Southern Europe are still popular. We have Spain, we have France, Italy, as always, for the winter getaways. But I think now we are seeing a more expanded and a wide range of destinations that are appearing as popular, and each of them are requiring a kind of tailored strategy to drive the tourism to these destinations.
But I mean, but the takeaway with what you're saying, if I could summarize, is that everywhere is looking up. Is the short answer. But the interesting one is that there seems to be a real surge in interest in terms of forward bookings, or at least inquiries as to forward bookings for Eastern Europe. And this is extraordinary, because we know that Eastern Europe is one of the few areas of Europe that is actually has got capacity. I mean, if you were trying to place group bookings or even forward bookings in London, Paris, Rome, Venice, Florence in summer 25, you would be struggling. It's really tough. But Eastern Europe, on the whole, for reasons which are probably fairly obvious, it's a lot easier to get space from an industry point of view. So the fact that there's interest there and there's availability there is actually news. I mean, that's fascinating. Just one point, and it's been raised by the Q&A now, and it was one I was just wanting to question you about. Is your data, where is it derived from? I mean, it's derived mainly from the booking engines of the principal scheduled airlines. Is that the case, or is it more diversified?
So our main focus is on air data. So basically, most of the analysis that we've seen is based on the air connectivity. So we take a look at the capacity data. We understand which airlines are flying where. And by that, we somehow understand what's the offer and what's the possibilities for a tourism offer. And we also analyze other segments of air data. We have search data, which is mainly focuses on the data that is coming from meta search engines, from Google Flights, Kayak, Expedia, so on. And we have an agreement with IATA that enables us to take a look at the ticketing data. So basically, we have the issue data for traveling in the future, and we also have an appropriate algorithm that we've developed in ForwardKeys to model all the ticketing data based on the official statistics, based on the historical data, and we can predict with 98% of accuracy what's the landscape for the tourist arrivals. And on the other hand, we blend other kind of data to expand the analysis. So the air data enables us to understand how and where and when the visitors will get to the destination. But other kind of data, such as mobile data, which we've already seen some examples, or spend data, helps us to understand how is the behavior of travelers while they are in the destination. So basically, it's a mixture of different data sources, but mostly it's on air data.
And so, I mean, what you're saying is that traditionally, the ForwardKeys data, and this was the great strength of it, was that it had real booking data from IATA, and it was reliant on the main, really national scheduled airlines to give you forward plot of what the interest was in this area. But you're saying that this is being modified additionally by understanding of what the search engines can tell you, where people may be using other airlines or they may be using other forms of transport, but they can tell you what destinations are looking up and who is getting involved. That's
exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Sorry,
just to add it, on one hand, we have the confirmed demand, as you mentioned, by the ticketing data, and search data normally signals the potential demand. So it's a blend of both of them. And this algorithm that I was mentioning, the total air market, helps us also to map the data of those airlines that don't share their data with IATA. And this way we have the full picture of this landscape.
And so that partly answers the first question, which was posed in the Q&A, which is the extent to which your data, does it cover intra-European travel by long-haul travelers? So, you know, if someone flies into London and then flies on to Amsterdam, for example, would that be logged as a visitor from London, or would it be logged somehow as a visitor from wherever they flew in from New York, for example?
Okay, so we should consider the fact that the data that the information, let's say, that we extract from the ticketing data, contains the itinerary. So basically, if we have some stop on the way, and if they are all in the same ticket, we can see all these stops. So we see the origin of the flight, and we see the destination, and we can also see if there are stops on the way. In the case that it's a one-way ticket or it's purchased separately, we can't have the visibility on that. But normally, for most of the travels that we have, the itinerary helps us to understand where is the flight is originating from.
Okay, that's clear. Now I can see you've got a sophisticated model. In Orologov, I could probably, sorry, with a question you have posed, saying North America did not appear in the drivers of growth for Europe. Can we expect a shrinkage of this market in the next few years? I could answer that, but I'm going to let you answer that.
Please go on.
I disagree,
I would love to hear that. Yeah.
No, you answer it, please. You're here to speak. They have to listen to me all the time.
Okay, in the case of Northern Europe, I think partly it comes because of the fact that the demand has been stabilized, and it's the normal trend that we've already been observing during the different months of the year. And there are some specific destinations that are growing faster. And we are also seeing the changing trends. For example, the climate effect, I think it won't be very immediate, but as the example that we were seeing, like this summer, compared to the last summer, the Northern European received more visitors compared to the Southern Europe. So this signals a shift, and I think the strategies that the Northern European destinations are applying also is helping to attract both in the winter time, which they have their appeal and they have their unique offer, and also they can benefit more strategically from the shift in the patterns and behaviors of the travelers.
Well, my answer to that would be, I think this is a very good analysis you've given, and I'm not for one moment disagreeing with you. I'm just would merely point out that you were projecting a 12% growth from the Americas this year, which isn't anything like as strong a growth as that from China. But China is coming from a very low base. And America, we had a record year last year. So a 12% growth in that market, if it's duplicated next year, still means that America dominates the incoming market in Europe, and a growth of 12% in the American market would almost, it wouldn't quite, but it would exceed all the clients coming from China. So I think you can be confident that America, if the situation doesn't change, and anything can happen with the political climate at the moment, so we cannot. You'd be a fool to make a certain prediction. But if current trends continue, we can look forward to a very, very strong showing from America again in 25.
Yeah, actually, the trend that we've observed worldwide between different regions, it somehow shows that the case for APAC is very different from other markets. In the Americas, Europe, even Middle East, 2024 was all about growth. And in the case of APAC, it was about recovery. So I think it has leveled up the demand and the increase in the capacity for these markets. But as you are mentioning, the growth will continue, and if the situation stays stable, we will observe more growth as we observed compared to 2023.
And I think the thing to stress is that all clients are welcome, all markets are welcome, new markets are particularly welcome. I think what we're going to find in 25 and 26 is a slight leveling off in the level of growth that we're getting from North America. I mean, you cannot continue at this explosive rate indefinitely. The slight issue we've got is that there are real capacity constraints in the sort of destinations that particularly long-haul clients want to go to. They naturally go to the main bucket list destinations of any continent, particularly as the biggest market in any, even America, the biggest market in any long-haul origin market is the first-time visitor. And if you want to have people to visit your regions, you're aiming for the second-time visitor, but hey, you can't have a second-time visitor without a first-time visitor. So they're as crucial as anything else to start generating regional demand. What's the curveball in all this is one, the cost and complexity of flying to Europe from the Asia Pacific region. You alluded to the fact that Chinese demand was suppressed because the non-Chinese national carriers really cannot fly over Russian airspace at the moment. And even the Chinese ones that are, there appears to be a degree of caution about flying over what is a live war zone. So they're not people aren't sort of super keen to be going that direction. So we've got a real suppression both in terms of capacity and inclination to travel. Together with the cost of the extra airtime that it takes to travel around the globe and avoiding one of the largest land areas in the globe.
Exactly. To add on your comment, I didn't add this slide here, but when looking at the capacity, all the region except APAC, they have surpassed the levels of 2019, which was before a record year, and now they are receiving more flights than ever before. But in the case of APAC, even in 2024, it didn't reach the pre-pandemic levels. But the expectation is that during the first few months of the 2025, the seat capacity levels reaches the pre-pandemic levels. So this is another reason for understanding why the behavior and the growth that we see from APAC is much different from other regions.
And then the other slightly repressing factor is that the people are re-entering the market for Europe in Asia, really with a memory of what prices were in 2018 and 2019, and a lot of water has flown under the bridge since then, and a lot of inflation has occurred, and together with capacity constraints, the sheer price of the product is a very different proposal in Asia from what it was 7 or 8 years ago. So in some ways, we've got to rebuild the shape and pattern of demand there. And in North America, there was a bounce back, partly driven by the fact that the North American market was dominated by tour credits. 2020 was going to be a record year. There were a record number of people holding record number of people making bookings for 2020, and they didn't get a refund when they cancelled. They got a credit note saying you can spend this on a European vacation when you're able to. And there was a flood of bookings coming in, which were the 2019 bookings coming good into 22, 23, and even 24. This year, we were still seeing tour credit bookings coming through. And so there was a massive chunk of previous business together with all the pent-up demand that you would normally expect. And this really rocket fueled the arrivals. In Asia, if they book, they got a refund. Then you're starting from ground zero again. So this I think is one of the reasons why that market stepped back. I'm actually just fascinated in the absence of any other question. When you talked about top performing cities, I think it was top performing cities in terms of growth, if I remember rightly, in your slide. There was no mention of London there. Is London not on that list, or is it because it wasn't European, or was it just not performing as strongly as the other cities?
Actually, the ranking that we have wasn't the top arrivals; it was top performing. So basically, we've compared the and let's say the growth with compared to 2023, and that's why as we mentioned, there are some destinations, some cities that have already surpassed the recovery level, and they have stabilized the demand. And there are destinations, Malaga, for example, we've seen on the list. There are destinations that are booming, let's say, this year. And this is not because of the number of arrivals, it's about the performing and the variation,
No, it was just interesting that it wasn't growing as fast as some of these other major destinations, which was what was intriguing. Well, look, I think it's really just down to me now to say, because we're drawing towards the end of our session, to thank you so much for your presentation. The partnership we have with ForwardKeys is one that we treasure, and I think you've done it real justice today. I think this was a fascinating introduction to the data that you have and the riches that ForwardKeys have at their disposal. And I would just like to say, everybody taking part in this event, thank you very much for your participation. And just to stress that the recording of this webinar will be made available to you, and indeed all the people who registered for this event. And it's freely available to members via our portal. So thank you very much, Parisa. Thank you, ForwardKeys, and thank you, everyone else. Take care.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.